particular case, the next two poems deal with the end of smoking in schools. Over the last 30, 40 years, there's been a real big movement to stop smoking in public places. And schools was the natural ally for this sort of campaign. But whilst you're doing some social engineering on one side, you can also achieve, if you are an administrator, other relevant little gains. For example, if you have some teachers playing cards at lunchtime, or, I don't know, doing something fun, well, you think, no, maybe that room shouldn't be to them, they should be doing other things. So more along the side of the voluntary service type of activity. So this poem is called The Itching Mentality. Once upon a time there was a team of doves which shook hands whilst holding their buttons. One said, "Tickle me here," the other wanted his hand there. They felt a sensation under their armpits. Sometimes they felt it even on their skin. One day they went around with pen in hand to hold a poll on a very strange phenomenon. They had developed this very bad itch which had to be healed at all cost. They wanted all the hardened smokers transferred. Those who continued had to be punished. It still wasn't carnival time, but the itching had become almost general. Then for democracy they formed a committee to give the smokers the rabbit's hole. That is the small office next to the staff room. The moral is this: when you don't like someone, find an excuse to move him from there. Not just him, could be them. Well, that's how it is. And then once that first successful initial activity, initial goal has been achieved, then you want to continue further and achieve the rest of it. So after a few months or years, you get this itch becomes general. So the general itch. So what happens to the smokers after they were ousted from the staff room? Do you remember that general itch when they wanted to steal our little room with the excuse of the smoking policy? Now listen to this. We no longer have that little room, and they have actually thrown out of the school all the smokers. We now go up and down the stairs like angels, and the smokers, like lepers, gather together in small groups in the laneways and in the streets away from our neighbourhood. You see them draw up smoke from their mouth which breathes the polluted air of the city. The moral is this: some go up and some go down. So that's what happens when the policy has worked. Instead of staying in school, you go for a walk outside, see students, and then you also meet the smokers in laneways. Interesting that they be smoking there, right in the middle of the city, when the city is well known to have air that is not pure and clean.